Everyone hear me? Hear me up the back? Make sure. Okay, thank you. Thumbs up. Well, welcome everyone. I think we're very fortunate that this seems to be one of the few days in February. It didn't snow, rain, sleet, anything else. I was busy watching the weather for the past week, and I saw this was going to be a nice, just cold night. So welcome everyone to the annual Goffstown Lions Club Candidates Night. And I want to start off our evening, if everyone could please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I want to thank ahead of time all our candidates who are here this evening. Other people I'd like to thank, Kathy Ball at Town Hall, who contacts me every year. Also Diane at the library, who also contacts me every year. That's how I know it's candidates time. And also for the brochure, that was Diane and the staff at the library. So thank you very much for all the hard work in putting this together on that. Okay, all our candidates will have up to 4 minutes to speak this evening. Our timekeeper, Jim, is right in front. He's just done a 2-week course on how to hold up cards. So he'll, please watch for Jim. He's an expert at it. Thank you, Jim. We ask the candidates when the evening is over, if you have time, if you can stay, if anyone would like to speak to the candidates, please do so at that time. So even though we have all our candidates here this evening, there's something else we want to do here first, something a little different, which I just think is great news. You know, the Goffstown Lions Club, every year, we have a couple of fundraisers. Allows us to raise funds to do a lot of work within the community. One of our fundraisers, probably all of you know, is the annual craft fair that we do in November, for the first weekend in November. The second fundraiser is selling of our Christmas trees. And we do that every year. You see that down at the popcorn stand, across from Sully's. And those trees come in every year, the Saturday right after Thanksgiving. About 7 in the morning, the truck comes down from the Ware Tree Farm, way up north, with over 400 Christmas trees that need to be unloaded. Through the years, just a few of us Lions have gotten a little older, and the trees seem to get a little heavier. So we're always looking for volunteers, which is great, and people in the town have always stepped up. This past year, I thought it was really great. We were down there taking the trees off the truck. And also there's this twine that's attached to the trees to hold them together. It has to be cut. And that is extremely time-consuming, labor-intensive. And you're talking over 400 trees. So the Lions Club was there, had a couple of volunteers. When all of a sudden I looked up and I saw some young gentlemen smiling, who were all tall, unloading Christmas trees. It was the Grizzlies, the basketball booster club. And then I saw some young ladies who were also smiling. They were cutting the twine. They were from the student council. So because of their efforts, we were able to get the trees set up in record time, get them out there for the public, make sales, raise a lot of money that of course goes back into the community. So what we would like to do tonight is thank those students who showed up on a cold Saturday after Thanksgiving to help out some just slightly older Lions members in taking care of the Christmas trees and getting them out there. So I'm going to call them up to the podium right now. First, the Student Council, Aubrey Karen and Addie Willette, if you could please step forward. Also, the Grizzlies basketball, Tyler Dion, Liam O'Brien, Sam Patterson, Troy Naprakowski, and Braden Malley. If you gentlemen could step forward. At this time, I'm going to have the Goffstown Lions Club Treasurer, David Pierce, present the clubs with a donation from the Lions. David?
I believe when the students were asked, would you like to perform some community service, and they stepped forward, and that was great for you kids to do that. However, we would also like to present their student bodies a check for $250. So, to the Student Council, check for $250. We appreciate all that twine cutting, and there's an opportunity to come back in another 11 months.
Thank you.
Jim, are you? Okay. Nope. And I've unloaded trees for 15 years, and like Ken said, they do get heavier with my age. So to have young fellas there lifting 40 to 50-pound trees that are dropping off a truck 10 feet high, it was really appreciated to have their effort. What usually would take 2 hours took 1 hour with these fellas. So a check for $250. Thank you very much. Very good. Thank you, guys.
You get that, Jim? Good, okay. Okay. Again, I'd like to thank all of you for being there that day. That was a huge help. Your efforts, again, helped with our fundraising, and also, for the first time, I think in years, no Lions had to go to a chiropractor after that weekend. So thank you all very much. You can stay, or if you need to go, that's fine too, whatever. But great job, and again, thank you from the Goffstown Lions Club.
I'd like to do a little bit of a driver's training class as well as timing class for you. So when we're driving in Goffstown, I know some of the best drivers are in Goffstown because I read them on Facebook. Some of you won't have it with everybody else, but when you see something that's green, whether it's a red light or a sign, what do you do? How fast do you go? Up to twice the speed limit, right? Yellow light. What do we do?
Go faster.
Even faster, that's right. We gotta get through there before it turns pink. Then we come to that red light. I live on St. A's Drive, I don't know if anybody else around that area, but you come down the bottom of that road, at least 3 to 4 cars are gonna go through that red light every time. But what we're gonna do tonight is we're gonna give you a green sign when you're up there speaking. That means you got 2 minutes left. Some of you might be pretty happy with that and go, God, I'm halfway through. Then we're gonna go to a yellow sign. That's gonna be 1 minute left for you. And I'll give you that warning, and I'll keep it low unless you need to have a better view when we get to this one. Most people don't make it here, but that's good if you do. If you don't, not a big deal. But so yellow, green, and red will help you out. Okay? And everybody will have that 4 minutes.
Okay. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate it. All right, we're going to start having the candidates come up one by one. Just so you know how they're chosen is, again, each year Kathy Ball sends me a list, and that's the list I go by, and the candidates, the order they are on the list. So first up is Select Board, and the first candidate is Joshua Douglas.
Good evening, friends, neighbors, and fellow Goffstown residents. I'm Joshua Douglas, and I'm running for Select Board. So I would like to thank the Lions Club and the library for putting this evening on. I think that we can all appreciate that this has been very informative to everybody here in Goffstown. It has been to me for years. And as for those that are here in the room and also watching at home, I'd like to spend a little bit of time telling you about myself, why I'm running, and what you can expect from me as we move forward if I'm elected. I don't plan on spending a lot talking about my bio. You can get that directly from the QR code or from the booklet if you like. But what I would like to tell you is that growing up, I didn't necessarily have a lot of money. In fact, we grew up where I stood in line for milk and cheese back when we had a major recession back in the early 80s. And my dad was embarrassed about the fact that he had to go and get help as a family. So in order to take care of that, what he did is he went back in the military at 35. And I learned a lot from that. I spent a lot of my youth on military bases and actually learning the values of the family as a whole. And what I carried with me and what was instilled in me is that you should always carry yourself with dignity. You should treat people with respect. And you should also keep your word and have the foresight to have continuous hard work at hand to get to where you want to be. Excuse me. I've tried to live by those tenets collectively throughout my life, even when I actually went to go get both of my degrees. I worked for those myself. I paid for them by myself because I didn't have the money. So I worked 3 jobs for my first degree and actually went to school full-time to make that happen. So then I met this wonderful person as part of that process. Her name is Robin. She's been my life partner. We've actually had 3 amazing children. She's been my rock. She's kept me in check. But what is amazing, and when I came to this town 22 years ago, Robin and I actually lived in Manchester at the time. We had a drug dealer to the left of us. We had a drug dealer to the right of us. And we decided that's not where we wanted to have our family grow up when we actually had our first child being conceived. And we found this town because we went through a lot of other towns throughout New Hampshire, and what we found is they didn't have the services that this one had. Didn't have the library, didn't have the recreation center, didn't have the great people in the community that we found here. So what we did is we moved here. We found a house that actually was far more than probably what we could afford. And not only that, we knew the taxes were much higher than what we expected they were going to be compared to the other towns, but we knew that this town was the best. And as part of that, I'm glad that we did that, because when we found roots here near 93 Center Street, which was our first house, because we're now in our second one, what we found was in the first year we were here, you guys probably know it as Glen Lake Kindergarten. It was being voted on. It was the very first year. There were a lot of people in town that didn't want that, and they didn't want it because the demographics, well, they were a little bit different there. Some of the people were older. They were probably in their 40s, 50s, you know, that sort of thing. Probably like my age, actually, is what I should say. And because of that, the second year it was voted on. People actually found value in that, and we actually got that kindergarten, and people started to grow, and the entire town grew with it. And because of that, my 3 children went through all levels of school here, which is quite fantastic. And every year we've continued to volunteer as a family and give back, which is exactly what we'd like to continue to do here. So we did all of that, and you know, I'm glad that we did it. We've actually worked ourselves up, and we made a good life here. So why am I running, you're probably asking? It's quite simple. It's because I want to give back to the community that's given to us, and I think it's important that we all do it. What you may not also know is that a lot of Goffstown residents actually donated a lot of the buildings, the library, the police station. Those weren't tax dollars. Those were hardworking Goffstown citizens like yourself. So to be transparent, what I've decided to do is that I'm going to run as an independent. I've actually decided that I'm not going to take any PAC money either. So you should be asking all those questions of the other candidates as well. So if you want somebody that has a sense of humor, is hardworking and honest, then you should vote for me, Joshua Douglas, for Select Board. In addition, if you'd like to meet me, you can meet me on March 2nd from 9 to 11 at the Oddfellows. And I welcome all of you to continue to vote March 11th and look forward to seeing you there. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Joshua. Next up is Richard Manzo.
Good evening, and thank you for being here tonight. Thank you as well to the Lions Club for organizing and to the high school for hosting us. My name is Richard Manzo, and I'm running to serve Goffstown as a member of the Select Board. Over the last 7 years, I've served as a member of the Budget Committee, where I've been an independent mind and a voice for responsible budgeting, and that's exactly what I pledge to continue if elected to the Select Board this March. I'm committed to serving the people of Goffstown above all else. Many of you work hard to provide for your family, and others have worked hard and now rely on fixed incomes. You deserve elected officials who respect that and work to make sure every penny of your tax dollar is spent to your real, tangible benefit. A town like Goffstown thrives on collaboration. Views on local spending may vary widely, but where we find the most common ground is over a budget that meets the expectations our residents have for services, but accounts for the unprecedented modern difficulty in just making ends meet and doesn't tax people out of town. How do we make that happen? First, the hard work begins by constantly critically examining our own processes from the ground up, because a faulty process can't lead to a positive result. I'm an advocate for zero-based budgeting. Contrary to what the name implies, zero-based budgeting does not mean recklessly cutting everything. It's simply a budgeting process that means starting at zero, first adding into the budget our ongoing legal obligations, continued needs, then new needs, and only then do we begin exploring any new wants, rather than starting from our previous budget and assuming every past expense must continue. I also advocate for long-term planning that incorporates smaller deposits into capital reserve funds, rather than slamming the taxpayer with major expenses all at once. I also believe in relentlessly pursuing any and all grants that may exist and can be used to relieve the taxpayers of Goffstown. But the work of the Select Board doesn't end with budgeting. The Select Board also oversees multiple town departments, including our police department, fire department, and Department of Public Works, each of which is as complex, or actually much more complex, than a business of a similar size. Another responsibility of the Select Board is transparency. I believe that anything that can be made public without infringing on any individual's right to privacy or creating a security risk should be public. So, why am I right for the job? I've lived in Goffstown since elementary school when I attended Bartlett, and I came up through our public school system. I served 7 years on the budget committee and 3 as an elected trustee of our town's trust funds. Professionally, I consult with small businesses and help them eliminate inefficiency, tap into new marketing channels, open new revenue streams, and more. All of these experiences have prepared me to make the hard decisions and instilled the open-mindedness to explore new solutions. My promise to the taxpayer is simple. I'll continue to be an independent mind once elected to the Select Board. I'll always put our people first. I will uphold high professional standards across all our town departments, and most importantly, for myself. No matter your views, I pledge to be receptive to your feedback and genuinely take it into account as I act on the board. I will never approach any new situation with my mind already made up. Thank you, and I humbly ask for your vote on March 11th. If you want more, excuse me. Thank you, I appreciate that though. If you want any more information, my website is richardmanzo.com. My contact information is in the voter guide. Please feel free to reach out anytime. If I don't get back to you right away, I'll be sure to by the next day. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Next is Fred Flett.
Good evening. It's hard to believe, but I've been a Goffstown resident for 50 years now. And it's shortly after coming to Goffstown, I became a Goffstown Lion. And I was 3 terms as president there. So I'm no longer a Goffstown Lion only because it conflicts with the Medville board meetings at the same time. So I'm a Granite State virtual Lion and an associate member of Goffstown. In that time, I've been just about everything in town. Almost all committees. There's several different committees I've been on. The Planning Board, Budget Committee, you can read my bio. I'm not going to go through it all. But I did that. My whole life has been civic. From the JCs and then Lions and all the town functions I served, at three terms as a state rep, it's all been civic. And so I was proud to be the first ever Volunteer of the Year from the town of Goffstown in 2009, and that shows my dedication to the town. I'm now running for Select Board because I care about the town. I understand the functions. People are concerned about their taxes, but we have to provide the services. There's no easy answer to that other than for looking for inefficiencies and looking for grants where we can and making certain that we're paying enough to our people to keep them, but making certain that we're not overpaying around with surrounding towns more than private industry is paying. So we have to keep watch carefully at the budget, but also provide the services. People are attracted to this town for the services. We want to keep that the case. We want to have the services to attract the people of the town. That's all. Thank you. Any questions? I'll be around. Oh, when I was told I have to behave myself up here for my Medville contingent up here. If I don't, I'm going to be set back there. And so let's see where I sit. Thank you.
Thank you, Fred. Next up, Jessica Buden.
Good evening. Thank you for joining tonight here and at home watching, and a special thank you to the Lions Club. My name is Jessica Putin, and I'm running for Goffstown Select Board. The Select Board serves as the executive body of Goffstown's town government, overseeing operations, budgets, policies, and services. I want you guys to look to your right to the person next to you. Now look to the left. These are your neighbors and your Goffstown residents, and we all have something in common here. We love Goffstown. That's why we're here, and that's why you're all watching. I've lived here almost 9 years now, and I'm a mother of a 6th grader, hi Monkey, who goes to Mountain View Middle School. And I love our town. My parents live here. I have friends, new friends, and that's why I'm running. Like many of you, I took notice when our new home assessments and tax bills arrived. My own property assessment increased 51%. Wanting to better understand how our town is managed and how taxpayer dollars are allocated, I began digging deeper. After hearing concerns from residents, working families, retirees, and those on fixed incomes worried about being taxed out of their homes, I knew I had to step up. I've always been someone who advocates for others and isn't afraid to speak up. Over the past months, I've dedicated countless late nights after working outside all day, attending meetings, researching policies, analyzing the budget, asking tough questions, and combing through stacks of reports from the town website. Experience matters, but experience alone isn't enough. Leadership means taking action, advocating for real change, and making informed decisions that strengthen our town. With a professional background in business finance, negotiating and optimizing operations in both construction and the utilities, I've successfully managed departments with over $100 million budgets, ensuring efficiency, accountability, and financial stability. My experience working with unions has given me insight into labor relations, fair negotiations, and policies that benefit both workers and taxpayers. Financial expertise isn't just about the numbers, it's about making sure every tax dollar is spent wisely, ensuring that government works for you, not against you. Our town is funded by hardworking taxpayers, and we owe it to you to ensure every dollar counts to fund essential services responsibly. I believe in running our town like a responsible household, planning ahead, eliminating efficiencies, and prioritizing needs. Goffstown's future depends on smart financial planning, ensuring public safety, infrastructure, and education are properly funded without overspending. A strong town isn't built by one person. It's built when we collaborate, listen, and work together. I believe that if our residents, businesses, and local leaders come together with a shared vision, Goffstown will thrive. We're not just a town, we're a community, and our strength lies in the ability to work together. As your select board member, I won't just attend meetings, I will take action. My expertise in operations improvement, policy development, and cost-saving strategies will ensure that our town government focuses on what's best for our community and you, the taxpayers. Good governance isn't about politics, it's about practical leadership. If elected, I will ensure transparent budgets, stronger oversight and spending. I will collaborate with department heads, with fairness, dignity, and impartiality to achieve our goals. Goffstown's strength is in its people. And when we work together, we thrive together. If you want a proactive leader who will collaborate, listen, and work for the people, not just hold a seat, I ask you for your vote on March 11th for the Goffstown Select Board. Together, let's build a stronger, more connected, and thriving community. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Next up is Budget Committee. And first person is Samantha Pearl Kearns.
Hi, everybody. My name is Samantha Pearl Kearns, and I'm here to ask for your vote for Budget Committee on March 11th. First, I want to thank the Goffstown Lions Club, the high school for hosting us. I'd also want to thank the Goffstown Public Library for putting together the candidate information booklet and for GTV for broadcasting tonight. Next, I want to tell you guys a little bit about myself. I've lived in New Hampshire almost my whole life. I've spent the past 8 years putting down roots here in Goffstown with my Scottish Terrier, Shirley Bird. I'm from Hollis, New Hampshire, originally where my father served as a lieutenant firefighter and an EMT for the Hollis Fire Department, and my mother worked in information technology for 30 years, maybe, I don't know, my life, before retiring to work as a paraeducator and then a teacher. I have an older sister who is a nurse for well over 15 years, and I have an adorable niece and nephew, and I bring all of this up because service to our community is a family value that I also have. These values show my passion for service to others and to my community. I was a Girl Scout for 10 years. I'm the current treasurer of the Goffstown Police Canine Association, and currently I work for the Department of Health and Human Services for the state of New Hampshire doing benefits eligibility. I talk to people all over New Hampshire every day about the issues they are facing trying to make ends meet. I bring valuable experience to this position as well. In addition to my background in finance, business, and human services, I've served on the Budget Committee for the past 3 years. In my time on the Budget Committee, I've identified problems and brought those concerns to our department heads and state representatives to create change. I've also served for the past 2 years on the Capital Improvements Program as the Budget Committee representative. I work hard to level the tax impact across multiple years and plan for necessary projects our town requires to help keep our town resilient and our taxes low. My hope for this term on Budget Committee would be to strengthen our savings solutions. I think that we can plan better and are underutilizing CRF potentials. I also plan to get involved with the Economic Development Council, whether I'm elected to this position or not. I think we can lessen the tax impact to residents by growing our business base. If elected, I plan to learn more about LCHIP grants and other grants to help our library and Grassmere Town Hall grow to their fullest potential. Investing in our resources keeps our community thriving and makes it a great place to live. I love town politics. I absolutely love Budget Committee. If you ask me what I like about it, I say, oh my gosh, it's so much fun. That is a true and honest answer. And I love it, right? Genuinely. We all live in this town and we all want what's best for it, even though that might mean something different to somebody else, right? To each of us. I think our community can come together to agree and compromise. I also believe in truth and transparency. I think it's important to catch mistakes and misinformation before it snowballs into something absurd. I believe in going to the source for information and reporting back to others what I find. I believe in admitting when information is incomplete or incorrect. My job as a town politician is to serve you as townspeople, and I hope you give me the honor of continuing to serve. I'm always available for any questions. You can email me at votekearns@gmail.com, or you can call me. My phone number is 603-689-6695. That's also in the meeting guide, and the voter guide too. And I try to respond as quickly as possible. Being on Budget Committee has been an incredible honor and privilege. It is an absolute joy to share my passion for the community with all of you, and I ask to continue to share that joy with your vote on March 11th. Thank you.
Thank you, Samantha. Next, Dan O'Connell.
Can everyone hear me? All right. I've been told I'd speak very softly, so give it a go. Good evening, everyone. I want to thank you all for coming out tonight. I want to thank the Lions Club and the library for putting this on for us. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Dan O'Connell, and I have 15 years of experience in accounting and finance. 10 of those years have been spent on budget, and those budgets have been very complex. My ability to contribute to the town would be extremely beneficial with that experience. My background is in real estate industry, and I provide my skill set would be identifying the trends and making informed decisions, strategic decisions at that. Transparency and accountability always been a priority for me, and I firmly believe that when it comes to communicating that with our townspeople. The budget should be an inclusive process, and one should be considered as our citizens when we do these processes. I'm committed to engaging with the residents and listening to their concerns, ensuring that our financial decisions reflect their interests as those of ours in our community as well. By working together, we can explore creative solutions to maximize our resources and prioritize initiatives to drive our town forward. I want to take a second just to recognize the Budget Committee and their efforts this year. They faced an increase on the town budget that they had to make some really difficult decisions, and they were able to reduce it from 12% down to 1.7%. So I commend all of you here tonight that were part of that. It's an incredible accomplishment, and they deserve recognition. As we look out ahead, I ask for your support in this election. Together we can build a budget that reflects our shared vision for a strong, sustainable community. And please remember to get out and vote on March 11th. Thank you all, and have a great evening.
Thank you, Dan. Next up is James Piercy.
Good evening, my fellow residents of Goffstown. Thank you everyone for being here, and thanks to everybody in the community who helps enable our candidacies and facilitating tonight. I'm running for a 3-year term for the Budget Committee, and probably most of you don't know me. My family and I moved to Goffstown just over 2 years ago. We quickly realized that we made the right choice relocating from across the country. From the welcoming neighbors, to the charming downtown, to the unique and special holiday events, we fell in love with the town and the people. I've quickly grown to care deeply about the community, and as such, I want to contribute more to the town and help make sure that the town remains a vibrant and exciting place to live. So a little bit more about me. My wife and I have 2 boys. One attends Mountain View Middle School and the other Goffstown High. And they also love the town and the area, and they're active in school organizations and our scouting troop 99. We have 2 dogs and 1 cat that found its way into our woods and adopted us. We love spending time outdoors and have enjoyed watching the boys learn to ski, and this year out-ski us. And I recently earned my Master of Business Administration from Southern New Hampshire University. So I've served in numerous volunteer organizations, including Scouting America as a committee member, a den leader, an assistant scoutmaster, and a scoutmaster. I also served as the treasurer of our homeowners association in the previous neighborhood we lived in, overseeing the budget committee and managing a multi-million-dollar budget. We oversaw numerous capital expenditures and reserve projects of various sizes, and careful attention was always required to ensure that we kept the community well-balanced or well-maintained while ensuring sustainability by balancing those costs against long-term savings goals. In my professional life, I oversee business operations for a medium-sized electronics and technology company. This includes developing and implementing short-term and long-term strategies focused on growth and sustainability. In addition, I assist our financial team in building budgets and planning projects to help support our goals. One of my passions is helping my team identify their interests and molding their responsibilities to support their professional and personal growth. I'm also very focused on operational improvements and process efficiencies. Deep down, I'm a numbers nerd, and I thrive analyzing spreadsheets and building reports. So I'm excited about the opportunity to serve on the Budget Committee, as it brings together many of my interests and contributes to my goal to give back to the community. If elected, I will work hard with my fellow Budget Committee members to ensure that we recommend budgets that balance the long-term and short-term needs of the community, always keeping in mind the impacts that budgets will have on our residents' tax burdens. Between increases in home values and external factors that increase the town's operational expenses, I see and understand the struggle some of our neighbors have approving budgets that seem ever to increase. I will serve as an advocate for all town residents to ensure that the budget balances fiscal responsibility, the needs of the community, and the sustainability of our public services. As such, I will also continue to embrace the transparency the committee has worked so hard to maintain. Thank you sincerely for your consideration. I look forward to serving you over the next 3 years.
Thank you, James. Next up is Craig Stansfield.
Good evening, and thank you all for coming out. My name is Craig Stansfield, and I'm running for Goffstown Budget Committee. I lived in Goffstown for 7 years now with my beautiful wife, 2 daughters. We got a fat cat and a rescue dog. He's really fat. He has his own Instagram page. I'm the Deputy Chief Information Officer for the New Hampshire Army National Guard, a Lieutenant Colonel, and a 3-time combat veteran. My background is in engineering, information technology, computers, cybersecurity, and field artillery. I'm not sure the last one's applicable to this position, but judging by what I've seen on the town Facebook pages in election season, maybe it is. What qualifies me for this position? First, experience. I've been a federal budget program manager for 15 years, performing the same tasks our department leads are responsible for. I develop, advocate for, and execute a multi-million-dollar Department of Defense budget. We routinely experience across the board budget cuts that are and are expected to maintain operations after losing 25% or more of our funding. This environment has taught me flexibility, creativity, and given me an experience with doing more with less. I'm a member of the Program Budget Advisory Committee, which is the Army's version of our budget committee. We're tasked to determine funding priorities, reviews proposed budgets, and make recommendations on financial operations for the organization. Second, leadership and service. I've dedicated my life to service. I've spent almost 23 years now in the military, leading people with diverse backgrounds under extraordinarily stressful situations and in some of the worst places on earth, to include New Jersey. I can say that I'm from New Jersey. A long time ago. I've had to integrate into teams of people with differing perspectives, motivations, experiences, and help drive them to a common objective. Finally, I believe in empathy. I've listened to and feel for our friends and neighbors who have been taxed at a breaking point. Additionally, I've also heard from others that are concerned with restraining taxes increases could cause a loss of services, or saving money today may mean a larger tax increase in the future. My promise to you, if elected, I'll remain dedicated to ensuring quality education for our children and delivering critical services that we all count on, but strive to do it more efficiently than we have in the past. Having watched our current budget committee in action, it's clear there are some biases present and some emotional decisions being made. There are certain budgets that some committee members are unwilling to even examine for potential excessive spending or bloat. We need to have consistent analysis across every budget line and verify proper justification, prioritization, and oversight of every single taxpayer dollar that we expend. We can provide education excellence and services that our residents rely on without breaking the backs of our taxpayers. We need critical and innovative thinking, an outside perspective, and a non-biased approach to budgeting. My name is Craig Stansfield, and I ask for your vote on March 11th. Thank you. Good night. He didn't even hold up green. I didn't waste your time and I won't waste your money.
Okay, thank you, Craig. Someone named Vito called from Jersey. He wants to speak to you. Next up is Allison DeCesare.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Allison DeCesare, and I'm running for my second term on Budget Committee. I grew up just south of here in Londonderry, and for the last 7 years have called Goffstown home with my husband and my 2 boys, 12 and 11, both at Mountain View Middle School this year. And last September, my mother, who has dementia, actually joined our household as well after we had to put my father, also with dementia, into a full care facility. So in my free time, I also run my own business, providing bookkeeping services for individuals and small businesses in the area, and have done that for over 20 years. 2 years ago, I stood here for the first time ever and told you that I'm not a politician, and I don't want to be. And that holds true to today. What I want to be is a moderate, informed voice for our town. I've learned a lot over these last 2 years. I've learned that we have a community that are filled with people who care about each other and this town. I've learned that our town employees go above and beyond, keeping things running the way that we expect when it means they're working harder and longer than they should. I've learned that we spend less on school funding per pupil than any other town in New Hampshire that offers K through 12, but we're still in the top 15 school districts in New Hampshire. I'm not sure how long that can last. But I've also learned, quite unfortunately, that there's a dark side to local politics. Who knew? I've learned that running for Budget Committee can get you threatening notes left on your car and your home where your children play. I've learned that outside PACs pay for attack ads on our neighbors who are just trying to run to make this town better. And I've learned that there's people sitting in this room who run for offices just to satisfy their personal agendas. That's why I'm running for Budget Committee, because I have no ulterior motive. I won't make basic promises like vote for me to lower your taxes, because that's actually not fiscally responsible. I promise to be a good steward of our money, to ask hard questions when I think our tax dollars are being used wastefully, and to help prepare Goffstown for the future that we all deserve. And I ask for your vote on March 11th.
Thank you, Allison. Next up is Frank Hobbs.
Evening, everybody. My name is Frank Hobbs, and I'm privileged to be here tonight as a candidate for the Goffstown Budget Committee. I've been a member of the Goffstown Budget Committee for the past 3 years, 2 of which I served as vice chairman. As a member of the Budget Committee, I've toured our department, spoken to department heads and staff, analyzed documents and line items. I've also advocated for areas that I feel would benefit our town, and advocated against areas that were redundant or not in our town's best interest. The town budget, much like a personal budget, requires making important decisions and choices. Sometimes these choices can be difficult. However, as elected members of the committee, I see our role as being protective stewards of our residents' hard-earned tax money. This was evident during our last budget season, where our committee reduced our projected town budget increase from approximately 12.5% down to 1.9%. I've lived on the Piscataquag River in Goffstown for most of my life. I have a vested interest in the entire Piscataquag River Way, including Glen Lake, Lake Nemaski, and the changes pertaining to the local dams in the area. I'm also a member of the Nemaski Lake Association. I'm a proud dad of a beautiful 6-year-old little girl, and a major component of my interest in this position is to make sure Goffstown continues to be a thriving community now and into her future. This can only be done with sound financial and budgeting decisions. My background includes over 30 years of financial service experience, including financial planning, insurance, accounting, and financial management. I'm also currently a director with the Penardville Lions Club, and I've also worked with the Friends of the Goffstown Rail Trail organization. I've also been through the Goffstown school system, including Bartlett Elementary, the upper elementary, way back in the day, and the Goffstown High School. Years of financial experience has taught me that smart financial management is the backbone of any successful organization or municipality. I'm eager to bring transparency, efficiency, and long-term planning to the process. Managing a town budget is about making sure every dollar of Goffstown residents' tax money is spent wisely to benefit our community. It's about ensuring that our town departments and priorities are funded responsibly and efficiently while remaining fiscally prudent. I'm committed to working diligently to balance these responsibilities for the residents of Goffstown. If elected, my goals will include transparency, ensuring that all budget decisions are clear and accessible so that Goffstown residents understand exactly where our tax money is going, efficiency, cutting unnecessary and redundant expenses while maximizing the impact of every Goffstown tax dollar spent, inclusivity, gathering input from our community to make sure our budget supports the needs and priorities of Goffstown residents, and long-term planning, making financial decisions that set up our town for success now and in the future. As a Budget Committee member, I'll listen to our residents, analyze our town finances, and advocate for a budget that serves the best interest of Goffstown residents. It is for these reasons that I ask for your trust, your support, and your vote on March 11th. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Next up is Rich Jarrell.
Hello, my name is Rich Jarrell, and I'm running for a seat on the Budget Committee. Thank you for coming out to Candidates Night and to the high school and Lions Club for hosting us. I really appreciate you giving your time to hear the other candidates and myself. I've actually never run for a elected position before, never had to give any kind of speech like this, so thank you for bearing with me. If I look familiar to you, perhaps you've seen me volunteering at the LGBTQIA+ booth at Old Homestay or the Regatta, or perhaps you yourself have attended the Budget Committee meetings over the past year or so, as I have, as a member of the general public. You know, I love this town, and it brings me a lot of joy to see so many people actually involved in this community. And I'm sure you're aware that we've been operating under a default budget for the past year. Property taxes and cost of living continues to rise. That makes it difficult for us to fund the town and the school and maintain the services that we expect and need. This makes it even more essential for us to be strategic in our financial planning, ensuring that we allocate resources to the most critical areas such as education and infrastructure, and not sacrifice our long-term prosperity for short-term relief. I am a software architect by trade, and my years of experience in that role have taught me the importance of collaboration, the value of diversity, and the necessity of transparency and accountability. I believe that diversity of opinion and open discussion are prerequisites for achieving the optimal balance of services versus cost. If elected, I hope to learn a lot from all the other Budget Committee members and the public, because neither I nor anybody else has all the answers. And it's that spirit of willingness to listen and learn from others and my experience with balancing conflicting priorities that I will bring to the Budget Committee. I have no interest in partisan posturing, nor even any political goals. The Budget Committee isn't the place for those things. They don't serve the town. So my goal is transparency, efficient use of funds, and accountability. And if that's what you're looking forward to with the Budget Committee, then I hope to serve you all well, and thank you for listening.
Thank you, Rich. Next up is Henry Guyson.
Excuse me. Thank you all. It's a pleasure to be before you today. Henry Guyson. So my background, 24 years in the military. My last assignments were in operations. In operations, you oversee not only the funding of, but the application of the funds and the resourcing for a unit. In my case, it was a unit of about 750 people with a multi-million-dollar budget. And, you know, much as one of the other candidates who served said, your budget changes based on who's in office and based on what's going on and based on what the mission is. So you had to adjust very quickly on the fly and often had to do more with less. One of the things that I'm looking for is I'm always looking for efficiencies. You know, so there's an old statement that says lower spending equals lower taxes, and part of that is true. The other part of that is true. The other part that's true is that to get more taxation money, you have to have varied streams of income. Right now, we're at a really critical point in Goffstown's time where our plan right now is not sustainable. I've lived in this town for 5 years, and in that 5 years, my property tax has gone up almost $5,000, almost $1,000 a year. I am retired on a fixed income. It is not sustainable. I've had to have the conversation with my lady that in 5 years, if this continues, we're going to leave New England. And it's true. It's because it's not sustainable. So how do we turn this back and look at things? Well, we've heard candidates discuss that we need to look at the viability of bringing in businesses. That's true. Business and industry actually provide more to the tax burden while using less resources than actual property owners. So that's important. We also need to look at what we're going to do to be in front of the housing crisis and possibly look at zoning in the town. We need to look at places where we can increase the revenue stream to take it off the backs of the taxpayers. If we're not willing to look at those things, then we also have to acknowledge that we may need to dial back. And by dial back, you know, I do not ever want to be in a circumstance where we're talking about reducing emergency services, reducing any services. But if it's not sustainable at this growth model and we don't have other revenue streams coming in, we are not going to be able to grow without pricing people out, and we're not going to be able to shrink because we need to hang on to the services. We've heard people in the past say that they're offended by looking at line items in certain departments. I can promise you that if I'm on the budget committee, I won't be offended by being asked to look at anything. Your job is to look at every single thing and find out where you can find more efficiencies, where you can find better processes, maybe if there's a different contract bidding process or any other number of things to try to bring down the outpay in order to keep more of that money into investing into our own maintenance and in order to keep it back in the taxpayer's pocket ultimately. To that end, that is why I'm running, is because I really want to maintain my retirement home here. I really want to continue to be a part of this vibrant community. I love Goffstown, and I think that we can find a way to provide for our town without putting it on the backs of the homeowners entirely.
Thank you, Henry. Next up, library trustees for 3 years. First is Christine Templeton.
Good evening, and thank you, Lions Club and the library, for putting this on and giving us this opportunity. This wonderful opportunity to introduce myself. My name is Christine Templeton. I'm running for library trustee. My family and I have lived in Goffstown for 10 years. I've been happily married to my husband, Brian, for 25 years. And yes, the two Templetons are the ones that you see on the signs are from the same household. As we take service to heart. Together we have 6 children, and our youngest is a senior in high school at the Goffstown High. We are in the home stretch. In 2007, after having 3 kids of our own, Brian and I became licensed foster parents. Our journey began with our first foster child who, although is not an official Templeton, still lives with us today, along with her mother after she became homeless 5 years ago. Over the years, we've had the privilege of serving many children through DCYF. Ultimately, we adopted our last set of siblings, and they've been a great addition to our family. We visited the library often and also spent time with nursing home residents who we brought library books on tape to frequently. When we moved to Goffstown and set up our farm, I continued to bring my younger kids to the library. However, we found it challenging to find wholesome books for teens. We asked for assistance, but it seemed that our definition of wholesome wasn't always in line with what was popular. Eventually, our visits tapered off and we stopped going. On our farm, we run two programs, Rent the Chicken and Hatch the Chicken, which have become quite popular with schools and libraries alike. In fact, we serve over 25 schools and 10 libraries across the region. The Hatch the Chicken program is hands-on, allowing participants to watch, develop, hatch eggs, and care for them for 2 weeks before we bring them back to the farm. This program sells out every year with many repeat customers. This hands-on learning experience offers a chance to connect with nature and see the life cycle up close. And through this, we've gained valuable insight into how other libraries serve their communities. In today's world of AI and robotics, it's crucial to continue fostering skills and learning for people of all ages. Libraries are in a unique position to offer these opportunities, especially in a time when face-to-face interaction is more important than ever. I believe that libraries can be a place of connection, learning, and growth for everyone in our community. As your library trustee, I would be committed to ensuring that our library not only continues to provide resources and learning opportunities, but also serve as a welcoming space for all, where everyone can thrive, learn, and grow. Thank you for your time and consideration. I'd be honored to have your support.
Thank you, Christine. Next up, Teresa Curtis.
Good evening. I'm Teresa Curtis. I'm running for the Library Board of Trustees. And like my predecessors, I'd like to thank the Lions Club, the high school, and the Goffstown Public Library for all of their assistance with tonight. I want to share some of my qualifications to be a trustee. I've lived in town for almost 40 years. And one of my first stops when I moved here was to get library cards for me and my daughter, because libraries are an important resource for children, for adults, but for children especially as early learners and to help them build critical thinking skills. After that, I stepped up and I ran for the Library Board of Trustees and served 3 terms. That's 9 years. I served with fantastic people who were dedicated to the town and worked to ensure that the Goffstown Public Library continued to provide essential library services. Professionally, my background is as a librarian. I worked as a reference librarian for the New Hampshire State Library for over 15 years, and I led efforts to bring technology to all public libraries in the state. I worked with state and private partners, that's right, finding private money to bring and put computers in all New Hampshire libraries. I developed and led training programs throughout the state to ensure librarians had the skills and the resources to lead the way in digital literacy. I then spent another 20 years working in the state's Department of Information Technology as the Director of Web Services and the Chief Technology Officer. I had an extremely large portfolio that included administration of the state's websites, management of enterprise IT projects, digital transformation to either implement or improve how agencies interact with the public, management of all online payment solutions for state agencies, and IT security and compliance. And during those 20 years, I was also responsible for developing and implementing statewide policies and standards. As part of the team that managed the state's $100 million IT budgets, and I worked on complex contracts from initial RFP or request for proposal through the project completion. I understand how to work with multiple stakeholders who have different agendas. I understand budget complexities and how to work collaboratively to separate the needs from the wants to keep funding as lean as possible. And I understand how to implement policies that take into account a variety of different needs. Personally, I have a daughter that's a proud graduate of Goffstown School System. I volunteered as a Girl Scout leader as she was young. I was a volunteer EMT for the Goffstown Fire Department, and I served as a CASA. My late husband and I bought the house he grew up in, and when it was time to move from that house, my only requirement was that we remain in Goffstown. I love this town, and I love the Goffstown Public Library. I hope that you'll vote for me on March 11th. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Teresa. Next up, Jordan Willow Evans.
Hello, folks. Thank you for being here tonight. Make sure I'm close enough to the mic here. First, thank you to the Lions Club, thank you to the library, and thank you to the high school for making this all possible logistically. And of course, thank you to everyone here for actually taking the time to show up and watch this from home. This is typically the only way you find information out in local and municipal races. So the people who take the time to actually engage with this are at the pulse of the community, and I appreciate that. My name is Jordan Willow Evans. I am not like other folks here in town in that I am relatively new. I moved here several years ago. I was attracted to the town. I was sold on how great it was, and ever since I've been here, I have to admit that it has met my expectations, and I hope to continue living here and doing all kinds of fun stuff with y'all. I'm currently one of your library trustees. I joined the board last year as an alternate. It was one of the first things I thought of and how to get further involved in the community. But due to a set of circumstances, we had a resignation, and I stepped up for the role because being a library trustee is something that I have a fair amount of experience doing. Before moving to town, I was a library trustee in my previous community for 7 years. Most of that time, I was vice chair of the board, so I understand the roles and expectations that come with being a library trustee. As it's listed in the booklets in front of you, I was also a town constable, a peace officer for 6 years, and I was on a regional school committee, or I guess they call them school boards here, for 2 years. And while on the school board, I was also tasked with our policy subcommittee, where it helped cultivate my skills and talents with writing policy and understanding how to create effective and inclusive policy, which I would like to do for Goffstown's public library if you all give me the chance. Continue to do. Thank you. Outside of that, I've been involved in an almost absurd amount of nonprofit and volunteer organizations. I'm someone who grew up in a family of small business owners. We had a family charity. It was something that from the earliest moments of my life, it was drilled into me as what you do. If you have a skill set, if you have a talent, and if you can use that talent to give back to your community, you should absolutely try. And bodying that all of my life, as soon as I had the opportunity to give back to my community, I did exactly that. And I threw myself into a number of public boards. I threw myself into a number of nonprofits, and that behavior has followed me throughout my entire life, even here as I've moved to Goffstown. And through that, I've had the opportunity to meet some wonderful people here in town. I've had the opportunity to hear from some of the issues that folks in town are most concerned about. And a lot of them are things that I think a lot of people across the country can understand. Transparency, out-of-control spending, town services that are inclusive and accessible to all. I understand those needs, and I've spent most of my adult life working for the benefit of my fellow neighbors, because if you don't have a community, what do you have? So I'm here in front of you today to ask you to elect me for a full term on the Board of Library Trustees so I can continue using my skill set, so I can continue giving back to this wonderful community. I have some ideas, and I would like to work with other members of the board in implementing some of those. I want to see us really put a focus on transparency. I want to improve the library's current constituent services and how people engage with it. And I guess my time is up, so if you want to learn more about me, I invite you to check out the booklet, send me a text, or send me an email, because I love hearing from people. So thank you for all coming out tonight. I hope I have your support on March 11th, and at the very least, I hope you turn out to vote on March 11th. Thank you.
Thank you, Jordan. Next up is Karen Manaski.
Good evening. What a good-looking bunch of people for this late at night. My name is Karen Manaski, and I'm running for library trustee. Again, like others, I want to thank the Lions Club, the school, GTV, the people that are watching from home, and all of you, because you came out on a cold winter's night, and that takes a lot, so I'm very grateful for that. My twin sons and I moved to Goffstown in 1996, and our town has been an incredible place for me to make a home and raise my family. I'm thankful for this town. I'm thankful for my neighbors. I made my home here. I found my family within this community. You all are family. I hope to live here as long as I'm able, and I am on a fixed budget and a limited, budget. But the good thing is I know how to penny pinch. My parents lived through the Great Depression. No, not 2008, but yes, the earlier one, the original one. And I learned how to pinch a penny in my and all. So I've been a lifelong learner. I have a heart for learning, and I got that from my father, who had an adage. He would say, learn something new every day. And it's just this little thing that is stuck in my head over the years, and I realized that there is so much to learn, and not all of it comes out of a book, but that it's so lovely that we have our library, and that our library is such a gem in our community. I am a retired occupational therapist. I have creative skills of thinking outside the box, and I love to brainstorm with others to get those creative juices flowing. I want to ensure that our library continues to be a welcoming space for everybody. I want to advocate for fiscal responsibility, stewardship of our tax dollars, each of you, your tax dollars. And I would like to advocate for a needs assessment to improve the planning of library goals. And at this point, I think the library is underutilized. And I have some outside of the box ideas about how to change that. I think there are a couple of underserved communities. One being our seniors who aren't able to get to the library. So I'm thinking of things that we could do outside the box that would help engage them. The other thing, the other group, and these would be people that we would see during the day as opposed to evening hours. The other people that I don't think we're reaching are those parents who've chosen to educate their children, to homeschool their children, and this would give the library the opportunity to invite those families in and help them with that education. As a library trustee, I will work for our library as a true center of information. I would advocate for transparency, accountability, and community engagement. I look forward to hearing your thoughts and working together to strengthen our community through the library. And I just want you to know that there is a warrant article for the library coming up, and it's about transparency of finances. It's the check registry, having the check registry published, and I am in support of that warrant. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Karen. Next up for library trustee, 2 years. First, Joe Alexander.
All right, well, thanks for having me. I want to start by reading a quote from my favorite book. It's The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. The simple things are the most extraordinary things, and only the wise can see them. Today, I stand before you not just as a candidate for library trustee, but as a passionate advocate for our library's role in enriching the simple thing of enriching lives of all citizens. First and foremost, I am committed to making the Goffstown Public Library a welcoming space for citizens of all ages. Libraries should be a sanctuary for knowledge and creativity, and I believe that means providing age-appropriate materials that are organized in a way that ensures responsible access. From toddlers discovering the joy of reading to seniors seeking knowledge and connection, our library should cater to everyone. I will work tirelessly to enhance our collections and programming so that every member of our community feels represented and valued. Equally important is the issue of privacy. In an age where personal information is often compromised, I want to assure you that your privacy matters. As a library trustee, I will prioritize the protection of your private library information, including your library card and user data. Your reading habits and interests should remain confidential unless you explicitly choose to share them. This commitment to your privacy will foster trust and encourage more individuals to engage in the library without fear of judgment or surveillance. Lastly, I envision the Goffstown Public Library as a place that extends beyond the physical walls, reaching out to all members of our community, not just those who currently hold the library card. By creating programs and events that engage the entire Goffstown community, we can strengthen relationships and build a sense of belonging. In conclusion, I'm running for library trustee because I believe in the transformative power of libraries. I am dedicated to making the Goffstown Public Library a place that is accessible to all ages, respects your privacy, and fosters community relationships. Together, let's unlock the potential of our library and ensure it remains a vital resource for generations to come. Thank you, and I ask for your vote March 11th. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Next up is Kirsty Hazelbaker.
Hello. Oh, God, there's a lot of people. Good evening. My name's Kirsty Hazelbaker, and I'm running for a seat on the Goffstown Library Board of Trustees. All of my pertinent information is in the candidate brochure. Thank you to the Goffstown Public Library. And I just wanted to give you a brief overview of my background and tell you why I deserve your vote on March 11th. I moved to Goffstown 12 years ago after living here briefly in the early aughts, as I'm told that's what it's called. My husband and I chose to move back with our family after spending 10 years in the Midwest. We could have lived anywhere, and we chose to move back to Goffstown with our family. We knew it was special. We loved the sense of community that we felt before we even had kids, and we bought a tiny little house. We've now been here for 12 years. For all of those years, I have been volunteering, primarily with the schools and with things that involve my children. I started volunteering as soon as we moved in, for athletics with my son, for theater and the arts with my daughter, who is now in college, and with the LGBTQ community in our town. I, most importantly, spent 9 years as the president of parent-teacher organizations, 5 years at Maple Avenue and 4 years at Mountain View Middle School, which ended as my youngest left MVMS about a year and a half ago. In October, I heard that there was a need for an alternate trustee on the board. I immediately started attending meetings and was voted in by the board in December. I've been an alternate ever since. For me, this is a natural continuation of the involvement that I've always had in Goffstown and in our community. I've met wonderful, intelligent people,
most of whom, like me, have the best intentions for our library, and I hope to be able to join them as a trustee. I'm also in my 4th year working at the middle school library, which we call the Information Center. I feel that is very appropriate for our town libraries as well. The building may be small, but the information housed there is endless. Also, the staff are amazing. I'm an avid reader, and I adore libraries. I'm a book nerd. They have always been a place of calm and knowledge for me. The attacks on our library in town have shocked me. I do believe there are people running for the position to simply fill a seat on a board. Libraries serve us through all stages of our lives and are a crucial part of a town and any community. If you vote for me, you are voting to support our public library and continue to make it all that it is and all that it can be. I'm always available for questions. My contact information is in the brochure, and I'm an open book, so please don't hesitate to ask. Thank you for your time. With my last few seconds, I would like you to know that Joe said that your interests and what you have read are not private. They are. They always have been. They always will be. It's not true. Thank you so much for coming, and I appreciate you all.
Okay, thank you, Kirsty. I just want to remind everyone, there's still some refreshments left. Cookies, drinks. I do not want to take those cookies home with me, so feel free to get thank you, Frank. There you go. Yeah, okay. Okay, next up, Planning Board, 3 years. Barbara Griffin.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. I am running for one of the 2 seats for Planning Board for 3 years. There are only 2 candidates, so you don't have a huge amount of choice. So regardless, I want you to know I am determined to use the 4 minutes. And the real reason I'm running is to give you the same choice on this ballot that we are faced with on almost every state and national ballot. Do I vote for the person that has lots of experience and has been doing it forever? Forever and ever and ever? Or do I vote for somebody else because it's time for them to hit the road? Because my first candidates night was in Stark Hall over 30 years ago, and I'm not even sure there were any other women in the room. So it's great to see everybody out here tonight and talk about how they've moved here and they love this community and they want to stay here and serve it, because that's why I'm here too. So I'm here tonight to ask for your vote for Planning Board after serving on a number of other boards over the years. I've been serving so long that I served with some of them. They moved away and now they're back running again for the board and I'm still here. So I don't know whether that's a good sign or not, but in regards to the Planning Board, I think there are a lot of important issues coming forward. I think I referenced in my write-up in the book some of the state issues for which one of our state representatives and I have had a long ongoing discussion about what's good or not for the community. And I want to serve you on the Planning Board to ensure that our interests are met. Recently, the board has decided to take a look at something called the Open Space Ordinance. I think some of you may live in some communities that were developed as a result of the Open Space Ordinance, and we have a subcommittee going forward that I'll be working on to try and get the ordinance reworked, because I think we can make it work a lot better for you. So my name is Barbara Griffin. I'm running for Planning Board. I want to thank the Lions Club for hosting this event again. I want to thank Diane and the library for doing the questionnaire, and I ask for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. Next up is Tim Searles.
I'm Tim Searles. I live on Terrell Hill Road with my wife and my 4-year-old son, our 4-year-old son. We live in a great part of town. We enjoy hunting, fishing, walking in the woods, walking on Black Brick Road. I'm sure some of you have seen us walking up and down the road. Like Barbara said, I don't know her, but there's only, I'm one of 2 candidates, and there's only 2 open spots, so. But a little bit background on me is I come from construction. I've done electrical, I've done sprinkler fitting. My last career was in structural steel and welding. I've seen buildings come out of the ground like the Boston Garden Project in Boston. I've worked on existing buildings like the Archer Building on Beacon Hill. I believe that serving others helps provide perspective and compassion for what others are going through or how they might be affected by prospective actions of the planning board. My core values revolve around integrity, transparency, and commitment to community. By listening to the citizens of those who work in Goffstown and live here, I hope to bring meaningful insight to help our town sustain its historical value while helping to make it a more sensible and friendly place to raise a family, to work, and to enjoy leisurely activities like hunting, fishing, and walking. As for my politics, I believe in effective solutions with minimal to no adverse impact on others. This should not only be an objective of the planning board, but it should be an objective of every elected and appointed member of government. I believe in agriculture and conservation. They are vital parts of our community, and I will be a voice for maintaining them. If elected and granted the opportunity to serve our town, I acknowledge that the challenging decisions may come before the board. I pledge to act with steadfast integrity and commitment to stewardship to the citizens and taxpayers of Goffstown. I'm running for planning board. I'm hoping to earn your vote on March 11th. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Next up, the Zoning Board of Adjustment, Bruce Buttrick.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Bruce Buttrick. I'm running for one of the 2 positions that there's 3 candidates for on the 3-year term in the ZBA. I want to thank the library, the Lions Club, and GTV for hosting tonight. It's always been an interesting venue to find out about candidates. The Zoning Board of Adjustment, or the ZBA, it's kind of unique in this town to have it elected. Normally it's appointed, but being that there's 3 of us running for 2 positions, the loser, who may be, can always be as an alternate, because we always have openings on the alternate position. But to give you a little history, just past January, I joined the board as an alternate. So I'm fresh as an alternate. However, my professional experience the last 7 years, I was a zoning administrator in the town of Hudson. So I've been very well deep into the administration of the zoning, the ordinances, the enforcement of it. As the board, we have to act as a quasi-judicial function from the zoning ordinance. And that's a fine line between the property rights of the owner as well as the abutters. And it's all within the confines of the zoning ordinance. So it's a matter of the push, pull, and then the interpretation and legally what you can and can't do. A lot of times there's a proposed use that some developer wants, and obviously the neighborhood does not want it, but it might have to happen because it is zoned for that. And that's the unfortunate part of having to comply with the zoning ordinance and you listen to the neighbors and say, the abutters, yes, we hear you. Your concerns hopefully can then go to the planning board when it goes after the variance, if that's the request, for the site plan, and they can work out the traffic concerns that typically happen. I've been in the public service sector for about 30 years. Prior to zoning administrator, I was building inspector, code enforcement in Bow, and then a mechanical building inspector, plans examiner in the city of Nashua for 15 years. Public sector. Then prior to that, I was with a contractor doing project management and estimating, and then right out of college, I was working for an engineering firm, always working with building codes, and then as I worked into the estimating and the project management, some of the land use codes as well. Other than that, it's a unique position to be running for as a ZBA or zoning board. Again, I guess in conclusion, I'd ask for your support for the position, the 3-year position for the zoning board of adjustment. Again, it's Bruce Buttrick.
Thank you, Bruce. You know, it's, when I look back, it's kind of hard to believe this is my 10th year doing candidates night for the Goffstown Lions Club. I do want to say that I'm very fortunate. The people of the Goffstown Lions Club, they're a great group of people. I always like to say we work hard, we play hard, we have a lot of laughs, but we get a lot done. And it's always nice when you look in the community and see the people or organizations that you've helped. So I'm very fortunate to be working along with a great group of people. I appreciate that. It makes my job easier. Sometimes when you see something, people say, oh, gee, that went off pretty easy. That means there's a lot going on behind the scenes that make everything look easy up front, but it's a lot of hard work behind that. So thank you, fellow Lions, for that. The other thing, which I really like to see, there are a number of faces here who we've seen through the past 10 years, and there's a lot of new faces. So the new faces who want to be politicians, this is for you. One of the things we do every year, and I have a number of candidates who respond back, RSVP me, they always ask, are you going to do a joke this year? And the answer is always yes. I know, thank you for the applause. It has to be a good quality joke, fun. I haven't, but let me introduce the joke in the front seat, Fred Flett. My buddy, he is a great guy. Thank you, Fred. I always like to come up with something that, make people laugh and clever, and it just didn't seem to be anything. So I'm going to reach back to one of my first times up here to kind of rework one a little bit, because I think you'll all get a kick out of it, including some of the people who are running as politicians for the first time. And this is the story of there's a priest sitting in a barber's chair getting his hair cut. And the barber gets done, and the priest says, how much? And the barber says, no, you're a great comfort to the community. You don't owe me anything. And the priest says, oh, thank you. The next day, the barber is approaching his barber shop to open it, and there waiting for him on the stairs is a nice new leather Bible with a nice thank you note from the priest. Later on that day, the barber is cutting the hair of a fireman and gets done, and the fireman says, how much do I owe you? And the priest says, the barber says, no, you don't owe me anything. You help to keep this community safe, and we appreciate that. The fireman says, oh, thank you very much. The next day, the barber is walking to his shop, and there waiting for him on the steps was a nice new fire extinguisher and fire sprinklers and a nice note from the fireman. Later on that day, the barber is cutting the hair of a politician, and he gets done, and the politician says, how much do I owe you? And the barber says, no, you represent the people of this community. Really, thank you, there's no charge. Politician says, oh, thank you very much. And the next day, the barber is walking to his shop, and as he gets toward the shop, and he sees waiting for him on the stairs 20 more politicians. You always laugh harder when there's some truth involved. But anyway. And by the way, it's interesting to hear the people, how long you've been living here in Goffstown. My wife's family moved here in 1969. And what's interesting, she told me that at the time she moved here, there was an older gentleman living across the street. He was about 90 at the time. And he told, and my wife was, you know, a little girl of about 10, and he told her a story. He remembers watching the house that she had just moved into being moved from down the street, being moved by oxen from one lot to another. And sure enough, she went down Town Hall and looked that up, and that house had been moved a couple of lots down for that. So that's how they did it back then. That was an interesting little piece of information since she's been here in this town so long. I've been here 17 years myself, so I'm a newbie. Thank you, Jim. But anyway, okay, moving along. Next we have, thank you, Jim. I take back some of what I said about the Goffstown Lions. Okay, next we have school board, 3 years. First is Retta Chaffee.
Good evening. I'm glad I'm not the last person up here. Thank you. Again, thank you to the Lions Club, to the library, to the school for having us, and GTV for making this available to people outside who aren't able to be here tonight. So just recognizing that we really have a lot of great organizations in the community, and coming together, it makes it possible for us to do a lot of things. I am running for re-election to the school board. This will be my 5th 3-year term. For those that don't know me, I grew up in Goffstown, graduated from GHS, and when I went off to college, I moved around to different states, to different countries, and really had not anticipated moving back to Goffstown, but here I am. In 2002, my husband Andy and I moved to Goffstown. In fact, I told him anywhere but Goffstown, and of course, that's where I am. But I do love the community, and we have raised 2 daughters who have gone through the Goffstown school system. My life's work has been in the educational field, whether it's training, teaching, informal education, and if you include going to school, I would say my entire life has been in the field of education. I'm really passionate about education. I'm passionate about public education. Currently, I'm the Director of Educational Technology at it used to be Granite State College. It's now UNH College of Professional Studies Online, where I oversee the online courses. We started with 3 online courses. We're now 100% online. Before I go into the school board, I do just want to mention the elephant in the room, which is school funding. School funding is an issue. It's beyond the school board, but it is an issue that affects us in the community. And taxes are high for all of us. We're 50th in the country for supporting public education. 70% of the funding for K-12 comes through property taxes. And this is what I refer to as a wicked problem. There's not a single solution. There's not any one organization that's going to fix this, or one person. It's really the community coming together, because this impacts the schools, it impacts the taxpayers, and we're all taxpayers. So I'd like to share a few facts about the school board, given my experience. And if you went to the deliberative, you've probably heard this, that Goffstown has the lowest cost per student in the state for all towns that have K through 12 schools. Students in Goffstown continue to rank high in academic achievement, and they're either above or at the state average. We begin our budget season in the summer with the administration, and then we jump right into the fall. And the impact on taxes is always one of our concerns as we begin to work out our budget. I'm proud of the work that we've done, and I'm always listening for commentary and feedback, and I'm in hopes that we can make some improvements. I heard loud and clear about the website. We're actually in the second phase of that, so I look forward to getting that completed, and I'm committed to supporting our public schools. So I'd appreciate your vote on March 11th. You can reach me after any school board meeting or at rettaforschoolboard@gmail.com, and my phone number's in the brochure. Thank you.
Thank you, Brett. Oh, before I forget, there's someone else I did want to thank for this evening at the Goffstown School. That is Laura Hunt, who helped me in booking this room this evening. She was just fantastic. We're trying to work out dates and everything that were available, and she just got back to me on a regular basis and really helped out with everything. So I wanted to say thank you to her for all her assistance for this evening. Next up is Laura Fleming.
Good evening. Thank you, Lions Club, Goffstown TV, and Goffstown High School for hosting us this evening. My name is Laura Fleming, and I am running for a 3-year term on the school board. My husband, 2 boys, and I have lived in Goffstown since 2019. Goffstown stole our hearts from the start, and we continue to be grateful for the community that we found here. I love Goffstown Public Schools. Our children currently attend Maple Avenue and Mountain View Middle School. Over the past 6 years, I have watched some amazing teachers, paras, staff, and administrators go beyond their job descriptions to create a safe and welcoming learning environment for all students, despite large class sizes and increasing behavior issues. Whether implementing creative solutions to support student success, making difficult but thoughtful decisions during the pandemic, or stepping up in times of family crisis, their dedication is remarkable. I want to ensure that these educators have the resources, respect, and support that they need to continue doing this essential work. I have worked in the nonprofit realm for over 15 years, specializing in fundraising and student development. I also currently serve on the board of FAIR, which supports foster, adoptive, and kinship families across the state of New Hampshire. Each child has a story and does not come from the same starting place when they arrive at school every morning. We must adequately support each unique need. My background in nonprofits, education, and advocacy has prepared me to serve on the school board with a focus on collaboration, thoughtful decision-making, and strategic planning. All students need more support than ever before. The book Anxious Generation exhorts community members to recognize that the great rewiring of childhood has caused an epidemic of mental illness. Not only has their childhood been marked by volatility around them, it has been highly shaped by their and our engagement with smartphones and with social media. This epidemic does not discriminate. All of our children are feeling it. We must appropriately react within our public school policy to protect students' mental health, evaluate our curriculum, and find paths to enhance critical thinking skills. The state's reduced financial investment in public education has left Goffstown in a very difficult position. We can no longer be proud of having the lowest cost per pupil in the state. While we've managed to do more with less for a long time, we should aim for excellence for our children, not just adequacy. We cannot lose our excellent educators or leave them ill-equipped or ill-supported to handle the heavy load of teaching the next generation. Turnover not only disrupts school community, it's very costly. Free, appropriate public education for all children is protected by law, so we must voice our concern over costly decisions at the state or local level that will just cost property owners more and more money every year. I will listen, learn, and make data-driven decisions. I would like to work towards clear school and school board communication, providing all residents with the facts for informed decision-making and voting. You can learn more about me and find my contact information at flemingforschoolboard.com. I would love to meet you. I would love to hear about your family as well as your hopes and concerns for our community's public schools. My campaign is free from all donations, including PACs, and free of social media engagement. Let's connect in person and let's work together for the good of Goffstown.
Thank you, Laura. Next up is Drew Goulet.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Drew Goulet. I'm running for school board. I've never ran for anything before, so this is the first time. I was born and raised here in Goffstown, attended its schools. All of our kids have gone through all the Goffstown schools, and I'm dedicated to Goffstown and committed to restoring common sense into the decisions made in our community. I'm running for the school board because I believe we need accountability, transparency, and a stronger focus on our students' success. First and foremost, we need to take a hard look at our tax dollars and how they're being spent. Year after year, we see our budget increases, yet we're left with unanswered questions and where the money is going. We need clear, responsible financial oversight to ensure every dollar benefits our students and teachers. As taxpayers and parents, we have the right to know exactly where our money is going and how it's being used to support education. Second, we must prioritize academic excellence. Our students deserve an education that prepares them for college, trades, workforce. We need to cut through the distractions and focus on strong fundamentals: math, reading, science, real-world skills. Finally, while parents and the community already have a seat at the table and meetings are open, we need to ensure that they are fully informed about the decisions being made. Transparency isn't just about holding meetings, it's about ensuring that important information, like how money is being spent and how decisions affect our students, is clear and accessible. I will work to make sure that parents and the community are not only present but truly engaged in the process. By running to bring common sense, accountability, and student-focused leadership to our schools. I ask for your support, and together we can make a real difference. Thank you.
Thank you, Drew. Next up is Lindsay Lumbo.
Stand up here. Good evening, everyone. I'm Lindsay Lumbo, and I'm excited to be running for the 3-year seat for the Goffstown School Board. I'm not just a candidate, I'm also a passionate teacher and a proud parent of 2 daughters in our school district, one at Mountain View and one here at the high school. My career in education has been very fulfilling, and I'm here to ask for your support in helping me serve on the school board. With 21 years of experience as an elementary school teacher, I've seen how education can truly change lives. I love witnessing the excitement and curiosity in my own students as they learn and grow into confident individuals. Every day reinforces for me how vital quality education is for all of our kids. Although not currently a board member, I regularly attend our school board meetings, and I take pride in celebrating the inspiring stories of success that are shared by our schools at every level. I have listened to budget presentations by each school and read any material that would help provide me with a better understanding of our board and what they do for our students. As a parent, I also understand the dreams and aspirations that each one of us has for our own kids. I know that every student should have access to the tools and the support they need to succeed. If I get a seat on the school board, I'll work hard to ensure policies that help all students thrive, while making sure parents are encouraged to be involved in their children's learning. I am an independent thinker. I believe my experience as both a classroom teacher and a parent who has experienced every one of our Goffstown schools throughout the last 12 years gives me a unique perspective on how to serve effectively on the school board. I see the challenges our schools face, and I'm dedicated to listening to community concerns and finding creative solutions that will help our students and our whole community. If I'm elected, I will represent the voices of teachers, parents, and students. I will work together with everyone involved to tackle important issues like developing our curriculum, developing a budget, and retaining quality teachers in our classrooms. I promise to prioritize open communication so our schools meet the needs of our families and parents are able to play a meaningful role in the decisions that impact their children's education. I value a strong foundation in core subjects like math, science, history, literature, and the arts. These topics help our students gain the knowledge and the critical thinking skills that they will need for college, their careers, and life. With a master's degree in curriculum and instruction, I have a deep understanding of what it will take for our students to truly thrive in our schools. And I will push for high standards and a curriculum that focuses on academic excellence, preparing our students for future challenges. Above all, my main goal is to support our school community here in Goffstown and to provide the best possible education for every child. They are the future of our community, and they deserve our full support and our dedication. So I'm asking for your vote, not just for me, but for the benefit of our children and all of our schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Next up is Donna Pennard.
Good evening. My name is Donna Pennard, and I am a lifelong resident of Goffstown. I am a graduate of Goffstown High School. I have a master's degree in education and a certification in emotional and behavioral disorders, and I am a retired SAU 19 teacher, and I'm running for a 3-year position on the Goffstown School Board. I am a Republican, and we're not supposed to say that because it's supposed to be a nonpartisan position, but it's not. And I appreciate all the people who have admitted that there's some tension in town. Really? I hadn't noticed. I'm the mother of 3 children, and I have 6 little people who call me Meme, which means grandmother. And I currently, 2 days a week, volunteer at 2 of my grandchildren's school, which is a Christian school. While I was there, working in the big cafeteria area where they had a high school study hall going on, one student yelled out to the proctor of the study hall, "Mrs. Smith, Alex keeps telling me to off myself." And the proctor said, "I hate it when kids say that." So I walked over and I leaned in and I said, "Just remember, your life is a gift from God, and if you take your own life, you're disobedient to Him, because only He can take it." Now, as a public school teacher, I would never say that in this building when I walked the halls here. But we have some tension because I don't want your religion just like you don't want mine. And I want you to have what you... The school is well run. That Christian school, they do a great job. I invite you to take your time, your energy, and your money to go start your own school. Please do. With regards to money, I take care of the finances in our household, and we are debt-free. I don't have a mortgage. We don't have car payments. I love to pay cash. But I don't think there's going to be a big expense in education anytime soon because of AI. And if I serve on the Goffstown School Board, I want to be a part of the fact that the AI is coming in. If you have high school kids, they may not want to go to college for anything that deals with intelligence because We're not going to have doctors and lawyers and professors or teachers anymore. While I was a student, we talked about teachers as facilitators. You're going to end up with AI being the teacher. And then you're going to have proctors or executive functioning coaches who help students just prioritize what needs to be done first, second, third, and get their work done. And AI will probably teach better than most of the people here. That's the way the world is going. That's the way it's going to be. People who acknowledge that are going to be the ones prepared to implement what changes we want in this town, in our public schools. So let's keep public school public. Thank you for your laughter and your giggles and keeping the book in front of your face. You are not all good neighbors.
Thank you, Donna. Next up is Brian Templeton.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Brian Templeton, and I want to thank the Lions Club for giving us a chance to speak to you. I also want to thank all of the candidates. Call me naive, but I believe that every single one of you is running because you love this town and you think that you can help. And this is my first time running for office, and so I know that it's not an easy thing. So I appreciate that. I've lived in Goffstown for nearly 10 years, and I'm proud to call it home. As some of you know, my wife Christine and I own a farm here in town. The big white barn just north of Kennedy Hill and Addison, that's us. What you may not know is that I've also spent over 30 years as a professional musician, and I've had the blessing of traveling all over the world singing the blues. As a farmer, I've learned to solve problems with practical solutions, usually the simplest, which may not be the easiest, method is the answer. I'm not afraid of hard work and getting my hands dirty, and although this is my first time running for elected office, if elected, I am committed to do what it takes to learn the ropes and become a productive and effective member of the board and of our town. I also believe that my time as a professional musician also brings skills. I've learned how to collaborate, communicate, and stay focused on what's important. In my travels, I have had countless opportunities to act as an ambassador of our country, representing our values of respect, dedication, and yes, patriotism. I will bring these skills to the school board, working in cooperation while focusing on what really matters, making sure our schools provide the best possible education for all students while keeping the focus on academic achievement and keeping other issues outside the classroom. Education should be about preparing our children for the future. That means ensuring that they get the best possible education in math, science, language, and the arts, skills that will help them succeed no matter what path they take in life. As a parent, I understand how important it is to focus on the basics, strong academics, clear expectations, and accountability for every student. Our schools should be places where students feel safe and supported. As a parent of a child who was accosted in the halls of Goffstown High School and intimidated, I feel there should be a meticulously monitored and heavily enforced policy in regards to bullying. No child should ever have to feel afraid to go to school. Education should be a partnership between parents, teachers, and the community. I believe it's important for us to have a say in what our children are learning and how they are being educated. Every member of the community deserves an environment where they feel respected and supported, and that includes respecting the rights of parents to be involved in their child's education every step of the way. I'm committed to making sure that we as parents have a clear role in the decisions that affect our kids, and that those decisions are made with transparency, respect, and common sense. If you believe our children deserve an education that prepares them for success, I'd be honored to earn your vote on March 11th. Thank you and God bless.
Okay, we missed one person, we just didn't connect earlier, so Shane, if you could come on up, I apologize.
All right, good evening, everyone. First and foremost, I want to thank the Lions Club. I want to thank Goffstown High School. I want to thank the library, and I want to thank GTV for broadcasting this to all the people at home. My name is Shane Rosmus, and I stand before you tonight as a candidate for re-election to a 3-year term on the Goffstown School Board. Let me begin by telling you a little bit about myself. I moved to Goffstown in 2020 with my wife, and since we moved to Goffstown, excuse me, since we moved to Goffstown, we've added 2 small children to our home, which has been wonderful. I'm a lifelong educator and have served in multiple roles in education throughout my career. I've been everything from a substitute teacher to a coach to a special educator, sorry, and now an assistant principal and director of career and technical education. This broad range of experiences allows me to have a unique perspective of how schools function and how students and staff are impacted by budgetary and policy decisions. Over the past 4 years, I've had the privilege of serving on the Goffstown community, working to support our dedicated educators, students, and parents. I've committed to working with my fellow board members to ensure that our students receive the highest quality education possible and that all learners have the opportunity to maximize their potential, regardless of which pathway they would like to pursue after high school graduation. When I first ran for the school board, my goal was to make a positive impact in the lives of our students, to help our community, and to ensure that our schools remain a place of academic excellence, innovation, and opportunity while being responsible with the monetary and capital resources available. I'm proud to say that during my tenure, we've made great strides in achieving these objectives by working collaboratively and maintaining a student-centered focus. We've worked diligently to enhance student resources and programming. We've invested in improved technological infrastructure to enhance security, and we have supported our teachers and staff with the tools they need to succeed. We have navigated challenges thoughtfully, we have celebrated the many student success stories, and always ensure that the best interests of our students are at the forefront of our decisions. But the work is never done. As we look to the future, we must continue advocating for responsible budgeting, ensuring that every dollar is spent wisely to support student learning while being mindful of our taxpayers. We must ensure that our facilities are able to support a growing population, especially at the elementary level. We must make it a priority to enhance the opportunities available to our youngest students, including efforts to introduce kindergarten programming. We must prioritize school safety, mental health resources, and educational opportunities so that every student, regardless of background, has the chance to thrive. My commitment to this community has only increased since we moved here in 2020, and I'm eager to continue building on the progress we've made together. I ask for your support and your vote so that we can continue shaping a bright future for all the students in Goffstown. Thank you, and I look forward to the opportunity to continue serving you on the Goffstown School Board for the next 3 years. I ask for your vote on March 11th. Thanks.
Thank you, Shane. Next up, school board, 1 year, is Katie Ann Myers.
Thank you. Good evening, Goffstown voters. My name is Katie Ann Myers, and I'm running for Goffstown School Board. I'm a daughter of 2 veterans, a law enforcement wife, a mother, and a 13-year resident of Goffstown. My family loves this town. We have been YMCA members for over 10 years, and my kids have taken classes in swimming, gymnastics, and climbing. My kids have participated in the wonderful Parks and Recs programs in town, including soccer and basketball. We attend all of the town events, including Old Home Day, Friday Night Under the Lights, and the amazing Pumpkin Regatta. One year, my husband and I even served as a coach and coach's assistant for the Tri-Town Youth Soccer Program, so our kids could get a chance to play. Without volunteers, these programs wouldn't exist. I have a degree in psychology and a degree in public administration, which is a political science degree. My three loves are psychology, politics, and education. I pride myself in staying informed in Goffstown's government and politics. I either attend board meetings or I watch them from home. I have served on many volunteer boards and committees, including the New Hampshire Public Works Association Board of Directors, the New Hampshire Standards and Training Council, and the New Hampshire Public Works Mutual Aid Board. I have also served for 2 years on Goffstown's Mary Lou Community School Board as the Secretary and Fundraising Coordinator. My volunteer board service has taught me how to work effectively with others to achieve desired outcomes for the greater good. I will bring my prior board experience and the skills I've acquired with me to the school board. For 8 years, my children have attended Goffstown schools, and I have served as a designated volunteer for Glen Lake School, Maple Ave Elementary, and Mountain View Middle School. I have worked over 20 years in the field of education, including serving as a tutor, reading assistant, resume writer, educational workshop facilitator, and training program manager. Most recently, I worked as a special education paraprofessional and substitute teacher at Mountain View Middle School. In my role as a para, I taught all subjects to special education students, one-on-one and in small groups. In my role as a substitute teacher, I taught all grades 5 through 8 in a variety of subjects. Teaching and volunteering directly in our public schools allowed me to have an intimate experience to learn how our schools operate, what the needs of teachers and staff are, how students learn effectively, and what concerns parents have with their children's schools. My teaching experience has also taught me that if we're flexible enough with the educational environment, every single Goffstown child will thrive. I've always wanted to run for Goffstown School Board. In fact, while working for Mountain View Middle School, I talked to the SAU and I asked them about it, and I found out you can't run for school board if you work for the school due to conflict of interest. I even asked, so if I quit my para job and I only work here as a substitute teacher, can I run for the school board then? The answer was still no. I kept this in the back of my mind, knowing that when the day came that I no longer worked at Mountain View Middle School, I would run for school board, so here I am. If elected to our school board, I'd like to work on the following with the board: return Goffstown schools to the top 5 in academic performance in the state, implement stronger efforts to reduce bullying, update policies to ensure sex and sexuality is being taught by a certified teacher or nurse in a safe and respectful environment with parental awareness and consent, update policies regarding parental rights in schools, which need to include a parent's right to confidentially restrict access to any school library book for their child, update policies on student misbehavior, including removing these students from the classroom so students who are trying to learn can do so. Lastly, I promise to continue to serve our community as a contact for any parents, teachers, or staff who ever have questions or concerns about our schools. Vote for truth, transparency, and change by selecting my name, Katie Ann Myers, on March 11th. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Next is Vanessa Hayes.
Hi, everyone, and I am last. Someone said they were glad earlier that they weren't last. Sorry, it's me, and it's 100 degrees in here. Good evening, Goffstown. My name is Vanessa Hayes, and I am running for the one-year term on the Goffstown School Board. I'd like to use this time here with you all to introduce myself and illustrate why I'm the best choice and hope to earn your vote on March 11th. My husband, Sean, and I moved to town in 2012 in the middle of a snowstorm on a leap day. I worked at Ware at the time, my husband worked in Concord, and because of this, Goffstown was on the short list of towns that worked for our commutes. We didn't know anybody here, And as Nashua natives, we were absolutely horrified that the highway was 15 minutes away. And it wasn't until our kids started to attend kindergarten at Glen Lake that we began to meet other families and feel like we belonged here. Today we have 3 sons who all attend Goffstown Public Schools and a wide circle of local friends who make us feel like we could never leave now. I am next to you on the bleachers at the Parks and Rec basketball. I see you at the baked goods stands at the Goffstown Pumpkin Regatta, and I have fed your cats and fish when you go on vacation. And I believe that's what matters to most of all of us. Do we live in a community that cares about each other? I understand and appreciate that not everyone is a people person, but one of the things that I do best is make connections. I love bringing people together, finding commonality, and learning about what makes us all tick. I say yes when I can because I believe that good things come to those who put themselves out there. And if you've been to one of our Christmas parties or stayed late around my kitchen table after bunco night, you know this is the way I work. We have way more in common than not. So what makes me qualified to be on the school board? Professionally, I have a unique background, which will serve me well when I win. Currently, I am in the thrilling and exciting world of workers' compensation insurance. Calm down, everyone, I know. Navigating the corporate environment isn't always easy, but I've been able to work with a diverse group of professionals and have a direct impact on the lives of countless injured workers. Sound empathetic? It is. Imagine calling the insurance company after you were hurt on the job and the person on the other line treated you with rudeness and dismissed your worries. That's not how we do things on the phone, on social media, or in person. Prior to that, I worked at nonprofit youth programming locally for 10 years. I witnessed firsthand the positive impact intentional opportunities and teachable moments could have on children's family and the staff. These organizations have tremendous value and taught me a lot about what it means to lead with kindness and integrity. Fast forward to today, and I believe that my call to serve my town and community started back then. And boy, have I served. Trying to capture all of my volunteerism in 1,000 characters for the library questionnaire was extremely hard to do for me. And I'll begin with the cutest school in the universe, Glen Lake. I help those teachers with their prep work every other Thursday. I sweat my butt off out when I was assigned to the Zumba station at Woody's Walk. I wore jeans that day, that was a mistake. And I've helped students find the perfect purchase at their scholastic book fairs at the Maple Ave. Around 21, 22, a coworker told me that her and a group of local parents had signed up to be substitute teachers in their own school district so their kids could all remain in class versus canceling for lack of coverage. I brought that idea here to Goffstown, and about 6 of us jumped in to help out that year. We did not do it to get rich. We did it because it filled a need. The big ones for me include Cub Scout Pack 99, James, I hear you, where I served several leadership roles, including the committee chair. This small but mighty organization is highly visible around town. Oh my God, time's up. I'll fast forward. I'm most likely known for my role with Goffstown Junior Baseball. I've seen many iterations of this board go by, and I have seen firsthand what dedication to your children looks like. It's my 4th year as president, the largest youth sports league in town, and I have seen, again, what the opportunities for that organization look like for your kids. My objective has always been to wildly cheer for and encourage those awesome children. I'm running for office because, like all of you, I care about this town and the people in it. Whether you've lived here yesterday, your whole life, your voice matters. Where we get into trouble is in the negativity and the finger pointing. I have often reminded myself that in this town of over 18,000, only the same 40 people are arguing on Facebook. And it's just the rest of us wanting to take care of our families and ourselves. Perpetuating the same arguments gets us nowhere, guys. We're better than this. I can do all of this for you when you vote Vanessa on the 11th. Thank you. I'm back.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you, Vanessa. Are there any other candidates in the room who did not get a chance to speak this evening? Okay, well, thank you very much. Want to do something a little different, a few things just to wind up the evening. I'm going to stand in front of the podium, And I'd like all our candidates to come up, kind of disperse themselves on either side. We want to take some photos of the candidates for this evening. Some of these will be sent out to the Lions Club online newsletter called Roar. They always like to know what Lions clubs across the state are doing. So if all of you could come up and put on a big smile.
Facing forward or back?
Fred, you can face that way.
Fred, you can kneel behind me.
Everyone try to squeeze together as much as possible.
We're just gonna stand up here.
Keep going. You need to be where you can be seen.
Fred, no horn, don't put up any horns next time.
Let me get the hat off here.
I like that. I think it plays.
I was blocking his face.
Oh, there's no cash.
Yeah, not yet.
We're out.
All right, there's a few closing remarks. If everyone could just be seated for a minute, we'll just finish up this evening. Yeah. All right. Once again, I'd like to thank all the candidates this evening who will be running. Good luck to all of you on March 11th. Do not forget to get out and vote, and tell friends, relatives, everyone to get out and vote on that day. I also, as I said, I've been doing this for 10 years now. I was a Lions Club member for about 6 months when I got asked if I'd like to host Candidates Night. And I said, yeah, how hard can that be? So it has been a great 10 years. One of the things we like to do at the Lions Club, we do like to give different Lions opportunities for the different things that we do in the community. Different projects that we manage and different things that we help out with. So this, at this time, this will be my last year as a host of the Candidates Night, but thank you, thank you. I am sure who will be standing here next year will do a great job. I want to close by saying, you know, through the years, there's been a lot of candidates I've gotten to meet and speak with. And I want everyone in this room to know, and also the people watching, every single candidate I have come in contact with has been very professional and very respectful toward me and the club. And we really appreciate that. It's a great group of people here in Goffstown. To me, it doesn't matter whether you agree or disagree on something. That's not what it's about. It's how we treat each other. And I want to say to all the candidates in the room and through the years, you've been fantastic to me and the rest of the Lions, and we do appreciate that. So good luck to all of you. I'll still be hanging around. You're not going to get rid of me. I'll still come around and everything, but thank you. And again, good luck on the 11th. Everyone have a safe evening.